Imagine waking up each day with complete clarity, undaunted by chaos, unshaken by setbacks, and deeply focused on what truly matters. Now imagine holding the power of an empire in your hands. And yet, the greatest battle you fight each morning is not against nations, but against yourself. This was the life of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, ruler of Rome, master of armies, and student of his own soul. Amidst war, plague, betrayal, and the crumbling weight of empire, Marcus sought one thing above all: discipline, the command of the mind over impulse, reason over reaction, purpose over chaos. In his private journal, never meant for the world to see, Marcus wrote, "At dawn, when you rise unwillingly, have this thought ready at hand: I am rising to do the work of a human being." That line is not just philosophy. It's a summons, a call to live with intention. For Marcus, self-discipline was not about denial or punishment. It was about alignment, aligning every thought and action with purpose and virtue. He believed that life becomes unbearable only when we lose sight of why we wake each morning. Purpose, then, is the foundation of discipline, because without a purpose, even strength becomes misdirected. For Marcus, purpose was not found in grand speeches or titles. It was found in action, in the daily fulfillment of duty. He saw his position not as privilege but as responsibility. Every sunrise was a reminder that the world does not owe us ease. It offers us opportunity. When you have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, remember your defining characteristic: to do what needs doing. This is where discipline begins. Not in grand moments, but in the smallest acts. Waking when the body resists, acting when fear whispers, choosing focus when the world demands distraction. The struggle Marcus faced 2,000 years ago is the same one you face today. The battle between your higher self and your lesser desires. The world now is louder, faster, more demanding, but the principle remains the same. Discipline begins the moment you choose to show up. You may not command legions or lead empires, but you command something far greater: your mind. The Stoics taught that mastery of the mind is mastery of life. To rule yourself is to be invincible. To lose that rule is to be enslaved, not by others but by your own impulses. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the essence of Stoic discipline. It is not about controlling the world. It is about controlling your response to it. Discipline is choosing focus in a world that pulls you apart. It's the stillness that turns noise into clarity, the strength that turns struggle into purpose. Marcus lived by a sacred rule: to act in harmony with nature. For the Stoics, nature was not the forest or the sky. It was the order of the universe, the rational design of all things. To live in harmony with nature means to live in harmony with reason. And reason demands discipline, because without it we are slaves to whim, to fear, to chaos. He understood that the first step toward peace is order, and order begins within. Marcus did not seek an easy life. He sought a meaningful one. To him, discipline was not restriction, it was freedom. Freedom from indulgence, freedom from regret, freedom from being tossed about by emotion and circumstance. So as you begin your own day, remember the first Stoic principle of discipline: to live by purpose. What work is mine to do today? And when you rest at night, ask, did I live in accordance with my purpose? Because discipline is not built in bursts of passion. It's built in the quiet repetition of duty. In the calm courage to face each day with intention. You cannot control the world, but you can command yourself. There will come a time when the world shakes, when everything you built begins to tremble, plans collapse, people disappoint, fate turns cold. In those moments you must ask, what do I truly control? For Marcus Aurelius, the answer was clear: nothing outside himself, only his thoughts, his judgments, his actions. He called this understanding his inner fortress. Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, taught this same truth. We cannot choose our circumstances, but we can always choose how we meet them. He had been beaten, insulted, humiliated, yet he spoke with peace, because no man could harm his character without his consent. Freedom, he said, is not granted by the world. Freedom is the sovereignty of one's own mind. This was the foundation of Stoic control. The dichotomy of control. There are two realms in life: the realm of what is ours, our thoughts, will and actions, and the realm of what is not ours, everything else. To confuse the two is to suffer needlessly. To separate them is to live wisely. Marcus practiced this daily. He ruled over millions yet reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." A stranger's insult, a delayed message, a storm that cancels our plans, the Stoic knows. Anger at the uncontrollable is wasted fire. Your power lies not in protest, but in perception. You may not control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. This is the essence of discipline, to be unmoved by what is not yours to command. Seneca called it the art of possession. He said, "The greatest empire is to be emperor of oneself." To rule yourself, your temper, your cravings, your fears, is greater than ruling nations. Because nations can fall, but the disciplined mind endures every fall. Self-reliance does not mean isolation. It means independence from chaos. It means being your own source of peace. In today's world, our walls of discipline are attacked not by swords, but by distractions. Every screen demands our attention. Every voice tells us what we should want, what we should fear, who we should be. But the Stoic remembers, noise cannot breach a mind that guards its gates. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. The retreat he speaks of is not escape, it's mastery. It's knowing how to stand still while the world runs mad around you. He faced chaos daily, yet he remained composed. How? Because he had learned to trust himself, to rely not on the opinion of the crowd, but on the compass of virtue within. He knew that the mind, once disciplined, becomes its own kingdom. No flattery can corrupt it, no insult can disturb it, no fear can command it. That is the Stoic's inner fortress, built from reason, reinforced by reflection, guarded by self-control. But the fortress is not built in a day. It's built through practice, through the discipline of self-accountability. When you fail, admit it without shame. When you succeed, accept it without pride. When life changes, adapt without complaint. The Stoic does not collapse when fortune turns. He simply whispers, "This too was meant for me." So when the storm comes, and it will, stand firm within your own walls. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Color your mind with calm. Paint your heart with reason. And the world, no matter how fierce, will find no entrance. This is discipline. Not to command the storm, but to command yourself within. Discipline does not begin in comfort. It begins in struggle, in repetition, in patience, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. The Stoics called this the training ground of the soul. Every hardship, every small act of endurance, every deliberate restraint, these were not obstacles to them, but opportunities to strengthen the will. You become what you repeatedly do. Your soul takes the shape of your actions. And so each morning he trained himself to rise, to work, to act, whether or not he felt ready. Because the Stoic knows, consistency is greater than motivation. Habit is stronger than inspiration. The body obeys what the mind believes, and the mind grows strong only through repetition. Marcus did not wait for inspiration. He showed up again and again, until the act of showing up became his strength. Discipline, for the Stoics, is not a single decision. It's 1,000 small ones made in silence. It's waking when the body aches, working when no one sees, choosing virtue when it's inconvenient. To embody philosophy is to turn principle into practice. Words mean nothing without action. Epictetus reminded his students, "You are not what you say you believe. You are what you do consistently." And so, the Stoic path is not walked in comfort. It is walked through discipline. He told them, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because growth begins where ego ends. You don't need an empire to train like a Stoic. You only need commitment to do what's right even when it's hard. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He knew that the mind decays not from lack of talent, but from lack of effort. The fire of habit is lit when you do the right thing and again, until it becomes who you are. The Stoic asks not for ease, but for endurance. The Stoics practiced what they called voluntary discomfort. They would fast. They would sleep on the ground. They would endure the cold, not for suffering's sake, but to remind the body who commands it. Set aside a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare, saying to yourself, "Is this the condition that I feared?" He knew that comfort weakens resolve while discomfort strengthens appreciation. By testing himself, he removed fear. For what you have practiced, you no longer fear, and what you can endure, you no longer resent. Discipline is a conversation between effort and purpose. Each small act says, "I will not give in." Each repetition whispers, "I am in control." To be stoic is to live this way, to do what must be done, without complaint, without applause. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Every day he wrote those words, and not for others, but for himself. Because discipline must be renewed daily, like a flame that must be fed to stay alive. A Stoic does not wish for life to be easy. He wishes to be stronger. He trains his mind the way the blacksmith trains steel, through heat, repetition, and pressure. Every moment of irritation becomes a forge. Every delay becomes a lesson in patience. Every challenge becomes an exercise in endurance. The fire that burns you can also temper you, and if you let it. If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Pain will visit you, failure will test you, but your mind decides what they mean. To the Stoic, adversity is not the end, it is education. Each hardship is a teacher. Each discomfort is a mentor. Each test is an invitation to grow. So rise, and keep rising, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Show up, endure, embrace the discomfort that shapes you. Because the fire of habit does not destroy the disciplined, it forges them. The greatest empire you will ever rule is the empire within. The Stoics understood this. They ruled not over others, but over themselves. For Marcus Aurelius, every day was a test, not of conquest, but of control. To lead millions meant little if he could not first lead his own mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the essence of Stoic mastery: to command your desires, not obey them; to delay your impulses, not indulge them; to walk through judgment without needing applause. Epictetus warned his students, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desires, but by eliminating them." Desire, to the Stoics, was not evil, but undisciplined desire was a chain. The moment you need what you crave, you become its servant. Seneca saw this in the hearts of the powerful, men who ruled nations but were enslaved by their appetites. No man is free who is a slave to his passions. Self-discipline is not denial, it is direction. The Stoic chooses simplicity not because pleasure is wrong, but because peace is better. Seneca practiced voluntary poverty, living for days with minimal food and comfort. He said, "Begin training yourself to avoid luxury before it trains you to need it." The Stoics knew, the less you need, the freer you are, and freedom, not indulgence, was the ultimate goal. We live in a world built to inflame desire, constant pleasure, endless distraction, validation at every turn. But the Stoic path is rebellion. It says, "I will not be ruled by appetite. I will not be enslaved by impulse." Discipline begins where desire ends. It's not about rejecting joy, it's about choosing depth over indulgence. The Stoics didn't run from pleasure. They simply refused to kneel before it. The next challenge of discipline is subtler: the need for approval. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. The Stoic seeks independence not just from wealth and comfort, but from praise and blame. Because when your peace depends on another's opinion, you hand them the keys to your soul. To be disciplined is to walk your path in silence, unmoved by noise. Let them judge. Let them mock. Let them misunderstand. As Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The disciplined mind does not perform, it acts. It does not seek approval. It seeks alignment with virtue. Self-mastery requires restraint. Marcus understood this well. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. He did not waste energy controlling people or opinions. He controlled his response to them. To the Stoic, disagreement is not insult. Conflict is not war. They are mirrors, opportunities to practice patience, humility, and control. The disciplined mind listens more than it speaks, acts more than it reacts. He who laughs at insults always has the last laugh. The Stoic knows that anger wastes energy and ego wastes potential. The moment you feel insulted, you've given power to another. The moment you respond with grace, you've reclaimed it. To the undisciplined, calm looks weak. To the wise, calm is control. The disciplined mind is like still water. The surface may ripple, but beneath, all is quiet, unshaken. Be like the rock against which the waves continually break, yet There comes a moment in every life when the noise fades, when ambition quiets, when the chase stops and all that remains is the question, have I lived well? For Marcus Aurelius, this question was everything. Each night he sat in silence, reviewing his day, his actions, his thoughts. He asked not how much he had achieved, but whether he had remained virtuous. Let not your mind run on what you lack, but on what you have already. And think of how eagerly you would have sought it if you did not possess it. This was the Stoic practice of reflection, the art of seeing yourself clearly, of holding your soul accountable with honesty and grace. The Stoics knew that discipline is not only action, it is awareness. Without reflection, effort becomes blind. Without honesty, progress becomes illusion. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. I hide nothing from myself, I pass nothing by. To the Stoics, the unexamined life is not freedom, it is drift. To live without reflection is to walk in circles, never knowing why you tire. And so, Marcus turned his gaze inward every night, not to punish, but to improve. Reflection is not judgment, it is clarity. It is standing before the mirror of your actions and asking, did I live today as the person I wish to become? This is where mastery begins, not in power, not in praise, but in the quiet courage to face oneself without excuse. Each failure, when reflected upon, becomes wisdom. Each success, when humbled, becomes gratitude. Each day becomes a lesson, and life itself becomes the classroom of virtue. This is the Stoic law of responsibility. No one can make you angry, you choose anger. No one can make you afraid, you choose fear. No one can make you fail. You choose whether failure defines you. When you accept full responsibility for your mind, you take command of your life. The Stoics refused to play the victim. They saw adversity not as injustice but as instruction. Every hardship became a test, not of the world but of their own mastery. Marcus ruled millions, but he never allowed the crown to rule him. He reminded himself daily, soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you. To live rightly was enough. To act with justice, courage, and self-control, this was his victory. The Stoic does not seek immortality through fame, but through character. He does not seek control over others, but mastery over himself, because in self-mastery lies peace, and peace is the highest power a man can attain. You need no empire to live this way. You only need awareness, responsibility, and the courage to practice them daily. The Stoic path is not a life without emotion. It's a life without enslavement to emotion. It's not a world without chaos. It's a mind unmoved by chaos. It's not perfection, it's progress. To be Stoic is not to be cold, but to burn with quiet intensity, the fire of self-control, the warmth of peace. Even in death, the Stoics practiced discipline. Seneca faced his final moments with serenity. He said, death is not an evil. What is evil is the fear of death. To die well, one must first learn to live well, and living well is nothing more than aligning every thought, word, and deed with virtue. In the end, Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, man, left us no empire of gold, no monument of stone. He left us something far greater, a map to the mind, a reminder that discipline is not cruelty, it is compassion. That control is not suppression, it is freedom. That peace is not escape, it is mastery, and that the greatest victory is not over nations but over the chaos within. Be the ruler of your own mind, the guardian of your peace, the craftsman of your discipline. Because when you master yourself, the world cannot break you. You will move through life calm, deliberate, unshaken, a living embodiment of Stoic strength. And that is the way of mastery.